Today, we're diving into some crucial new research on AI governance. If your organization is out there buying or even just using commercial AI, you absolutely need to understand who's really on the hook when things go wrong. And this explainer is going to show you how. So let's start with the question that should be keeping executives up at night. You've just invested in a powerful new AI tool, but what happens if it spits out biased results, leaks sensitive data, or causes some real-world harm? Where does the buck actually stop? Is it with the company that sold it to you, or is it with you, the buyer, who put it into action? Well, the answer is a lot more complicated than you might think. Here's the thing about artificial intelligence. It presents this fundamental paradox. On one hand, it promises these incredible, game-changing benefits. We're talking everything from optimizing supply chains to discovering new medicines. But on the other hand, every single AI system comes with its own set of built-in risks, like perpetuating biases, violating privacy, or causing actual harm that can just wipe out any ROI you were hoping for. And this is the critical point. The way we've been thinking about AI governance is pretty much broken. Our traditional models, like the standard software development lifecycle, are all focused on the people who build the AI. They almost completely ignore the massive role that we, the buyers, play in picking, adapting, and deploying these tools. This creates this huge, dangerous governance gap, and it leaves your organization completely exposed. But the good news is, new research gives us a solution, a powerful new toolkit designed specifically for AI buyers. It's built on 3 brand new concepts that are designed to bring some much-needed clarity to this whole messy landscape. So let's break them down. So on the left, you see the old way of thinking. A developer builds a product, they ship it, and that's kind of it. Their part of the story is mostly over. But that's just not how AI works, right? The model on the right, the new commercial AI lifecycle, recognizes that market release is really just the beginning of the story. The buyer's journey, selecting it, adapting it, managing it day to day, that's where so many of the most critical risks are hiding. And here is that first tool in action, the commercial AI lifecycle. Now, this is a detailed map. It's got 16 distinct milestones, and we're not going to go through every single one. But the key thing to notice is just how many of these milestones happen after the product is already out in the wild. This gives buyers a complete roadmap to see exactly where their governance is needed most, long after the developer's traditional job is supposedly done. Okay, tool number 2 helps us understand a really basic but important fact. Not all AI solutions are the same. This taxonomy sorts all the commercial AI out there into 4 distinct archetypes. And trust me, knowing which type of solution you're buying is the absolute key to understanding your specific risks and your responsibilities. First up, we've got Type 1, general-purpose AI platforms. Think of these as your off-the-shelf utility tools, like a ChatGPT for writing or a Midjourney for making images. They're incredibly powerful, but for you as a buyer, they're essentially black boxes. The seller controls almost everything about how they're built and tested, which means they're holding pretty much all the governance keys. Next is Type 2 vertical domain platforms. Now, these are tools that are tailored for specific industries. Think Salesforce for sales or Workday for HR. The big change here is that you start feeding the system your organization's own proprietary data to customize it. And yeah, this unlocks a ton of value, but it also dramatically increases your risk and your level of responsibility. With Type 3, these orchestration platforms, the script completely flips. You're using low-code tools like Zapier, and suddenly, you're not just a consumer of AI anymore, you are a builder. You are literally designing and deploying your own AI agents and workflows that connect all sorts of different systems. Your control and your accountability just took a massive leap forward. And finally, we have Type 4, custom solutions. This is the full custom job. It's where you partner with a vendor to co-create a bespoke AI system from the ground up, like a custom fraud detection model for a bank. In this scenario, you, the buyer, have maximum involvement, maximum control, and, you guessed it, maximum responsibility for whatever happens. So we've got the life cycle, and we've got the archetypes. The third and final tool is a map that brings it all together. It's called the Distributed Governance Matrix, and it's fantastic because it shows us precisely how control and responsibility get split up between the buyer and the seller for each of those 4 archetypes. And this is where it gets really interesting. When we use this matrix to look at the different archetypes, we see this incredibly dramatic pattern emerge, something we can call the Great Responsibility Shift.
Take a look at this chart. This is for a Type 1 black box solution. That top line? That's the seller's control. It is nearly total across all the really critical development stages. The data, the model, the testing, all of it. Now look at the buyer's control, that bottom line. It's minimal. You have no direct way to govern the core product. You're basically just dependent on what the seller tells you.
Now, watch what happens when we jump to a Type 4 custom solution. Whoa, it's a total inversion. The buyer's line skyrockets. You now have full or shared control across pretty much the entire 16-milestone life cycle, from the very beginning all the way to the end. This visual jump just makes that shift in responsibility crystal clear.
You know, there's a really simple way to think about all this. Buying a Type 1 AI is like renting a car. You're responsible for how you drive it, sure, but not for how the engine was built. Buying a Type 4 AI, well, that's like building a car from a kit. You have way more control over the final product, but your responsibility for it grows exponentially.
Okay, so that's the what. But what does this all mean for you in the real world? Let's turn this analysis into an actual, actionable playbook. This slide right here is your cheat sheet. For Type 1, since it's a black box, your strategy has to be trust but verify and get everything clarified in the contract. For Type 2, because you're adding your own data, you have to really scrutinize how that data is handled and be ready for the risks of sudden vendor upgrades. For Type 3, where you become the builder, you have to create a strong internal governance discipline from scratch. And for Type 4, the custom job, you've got to assume full accountability and use tools to pinpoint exactly who is liable for what among all your partners. Adopting this new way of thinking isn't just some minor tweak to how you buy software. It fundamentally changes absolutely everything about how your organization should approach AI. It means you'll start scoping your AI needs not just based on what's possible, but on what your organization actually has the capacity to govern. Your RFPs will start demanding real transparency into a vendor's data and testing. You'll evaluate vendors based on the strength of their governance, not just their flashy features. And you'll negotiate contracts that explicitly map out who is responsible for what when things inevitably go wrong. Ultimately, it all boils down to this powerful idea from the research. In the world of AI, risk management is not a cost center. It is a prerequisite for value creation. You simply cannot get to the profound benefits of AI unless you can effectively control the risks that come along for the ride. So we'll end with a question for you to take back to your team. As your organization adopts more and more AI, are you truly clear on where your responsibility begins and where it ends? Because in this new world of distributed AI governance, not knowing is the biggest risk of all.